Greetings and salutations of peace. You are now in tune on the One, the Force itself. At this time, we call it the Holy Master Blaster Jamming. I am Etal Iman. Intelligence analysis, from my approach, is a art form. Is like a collage. Once you fit all or enough pieces gathered from the field of information, the data forms a picture which is the message. You are now in tune. This is intuitive research. This is intuitive research and analysis. There is a unified field in ancient sacred history. Follow the dots and connect with them with the correct line of thought. This is called lateral thinking. When a people are so selfish, how can there be unity? The incentives of Satan is a roadblock of desired unity. I was inspired to speak of the judge as a symbol of aloneness. I was asked by someone very close to me, did I ever get lonely being alone? So this discourse is partly the inspiration from that question. Do I feel lonely being alone? So we will start with the judge as symbol of aloneness. The figure of the judge serves as a profound symbol of profound structural, emotional, and existential aloneness. Within the legal system, human culture, while the courtroom is often filled with lawyers, jurors and spectators, the judge sits physically and metaphorically isolated to guarantee the integrity of the law. This institutionalized loneliness stems from several distinct pressures. One is the physical and visual isolation. In any courtroom design, the architecture explicitly reinforces the judge's solitary status. The judge sits higher than everyone else, creating a literal and figurative divide. Unlike the collaborative tables of defense and prosecution teams, the bench is built for exactly one person. The uniform of black robes strips away personal identity, transforming the individual into a solitary monument of institutional power. To maintain absolutely impartiality, judges must willingly subject themselves to a life of strict social restrictions. A judge can no longer casual converse with former lawyer colleagues due to the risk of ex parte communication or perceived bias. Friendships are heavily policed. Socializing with anyone involved in the local legal ecosystem risk a mistrial or ethical violation. Every personal interaction, public outing, or family relationship is viewed through the lens of potential conflict of interest, forcing a cloistered lifestyle. The ultimate source of a judge's aloneness is the psychological weight of unilateral decision-making. Unlike a jury, which shares the burden of a verdict among 12 people, a bench trial or sentencing decision rests on a single conscience. Every personal interaction, public outing, or family relationship is viewed through the lens of potential conflict of interest, forcing a cloistered lifestyle. The ultimate source of a judge's aloneness is the psychological weight of unilateral decision-making. Unlike a jury, which shares the burden of a verdict among 12 people, the bench trial or sentencing decision rests on a single mindset. Single. Literary and cultural symbolism in literature and philosophy, judges are frequently utilized to embody the terrifying isolation of absolute authority. For example, in the Cormac McCarthy's Blood Meridian, the terrifying character of Judge Holden represents a existential, detached form of law and judgment that sits entirely apart from normal human warmth. The dystopian fiction, The Lone Judge, represents a godlike figure who must remain entirely detached from human empathy to execute mechanical justice. So, what I have sparked by this thought was, I said like this: let's use Noah in the Bible as judge. Everyone knew him and his mission, but no one paid him any attention. That is, did not take his advice. If we put that in modern terms, the people would be distracted by religion, basically fundamentalism, and not knowing truth is revealed in all movements, all religions. So evil becomes ignorance. The compound word universe proves that unity, therefore the community or world is being judged by a designed ignorance. Noah is by default judge. He stands alone. Thus, the man wearing the black robe in court is symbol of aloneness. He cannot be lonely because truth or God, the process of his knowledge, i.e. universe, is his friend or comforter. Note that this profound philosophical synthesis I have came about connecting the biblical archetype of Noah to the modern judge shifts the concept entirely. It moves from a psychological state of loneliness to a metaphysical state of aloneness rooted in truth. Please note how I view these connections. This framework clarifies how Noah operates as history's first default judge, and why the modern black robe represents that exact same distinction. Noah does not actively seek to condemn his peers. Instead, his alignment with universal truth automatically turns him into a living verdict. The community's decision to ignore his warning is the mechanism of their own judgment. They are blinded by a designed ignorance, getting lost in rigid foundational structures rather than recognizing the fluid truth moving through existence. So, by treating evil as a lack of awareness rather than a malicious force, the flood becomes a natural systemic consequence of a community refusing to see the whole picture. So we see the breakdown of the word universe, one song, or one turning, as I really love to say, one book, provides the exact reason why this figure cannot be lonely. There is no way for Noah to be lonely. Loneliness requires a feeling of separation from the whole. Because Noah, and by extension, the symbolic ideal of the judge, is in alignment with the underlying unity of the universe. They are never truly solitary. The process of knowledge itself serves as their companion. So we see the modern judge's black robe signifies a detachment from localized human drama, gossip, and division, anchoring the wearer to that singular universal standard. Applying this to today, you can see this designed ignorance everywhere. When people lock themselves into rigid fundamentalist viewpoints, whether religious, political, or social, they stop observing the truth revealed in all movements. They mistake the rules for the reality. The person who steps outside of that to look at the unified whole will always find themselves standing completely alone in the courtroom of public opinion, yet fully supported by the reality of the universe you are now into. The ego is the basis of narcissism. Now, this is like a rude awakening for me. And it was just maybe a year and a half ago that I realized what narcissism was. I've heard people say it. I didn't know what they were talking about. So I come to this conclusion. The ego is the basis of narcissism, which becomes a trap, everyone wanting to be Noah, but none but he was chosen. From this grows jealousy. Therefore, Noah is deliberately not seen by the community, but they do see him. The community, by the end of the process, becomes his enemy. This is where evil becomes ignorance, not knowing itself to be so, or vice versa. A psychosis has set in, and the entire community has become narcissistic. This collective can be called Satan, or the evil, or the evil devil. I think this is what the character Jesus meant or realized when he said, "Forgive them, Father, they know not what they doeth." So allow me here to break this down for you, and I want you to listen to it attentively. If you have to, go back and listen to it again. So let's look at the trap of the unchosen ego. The root of the issue is the ego's desire for specialness, which brings about the Noah complex. Everyone wants the validation of being the chosen one, the unique savior, or the central figure. This births jealousy. When the community realizes they are not the chosen one, that they do not possess the ultimate truth or authority, the ego fractures. To protect its own pride, the collective engages in a massive psychological defense mechanism. They see Noah, but they choose not to acknowledge him. Acknowledging him would require admitting their own lack of alignment. So when an entire community participates in this shared defense mechanism, individual narcissism scales up into a systemic entity, because Noah's mere existence exposes their delusion. The community must turn him into the enemy to preserve their shared ego. Evil achieves its purest form when it completely loses the capacity for self-reflection. It is ignorance that is ignorant of its own ignorance. Thus, the phrase I coined in the early 80s, evil is oftentimes ignorance, or ignorance is oftentimes ignorance not knowing itself to be so. So we find that in this framework, Satan, or the evil, is not a red monster with a pitchfork. It's the network of a narcissistic collective psychosis, a self-sustaining web of designed ignorance that actively destroys anything threatening its delusion. We find that individual ego needs validation. When Jesus looked out from the cross at the crowd mocking him, he recognizes history repeating itself. And I have pondered this many times with people I thought to be close associates. When Jesus looked out from the cross at the crowd mocking him, he recognizes history repeating itself. The same narcissistic machinery that ignored Noah is now crucifying Jesus. His statement, "They know not what they do," perfectly validates my theory here. He identifies them as being trapped in a state of absolute psychological possession. They are completely blind to reality, acting as gears in an ignorant collective machine. So you can't logically blame a broken machine for being broken, nor can you reason with a mob in the deep throes of psychosis. They are literally incapable of self-awareness in that state. Just like Noah on the ark, Jesus stands as the ultimate default judge on the cross, completely isolated from the collective delusion, yet entirely anchored to the foundational truth of the universe. I see this as the cycle in history that has been coded into sacred texts that will be broken. The time in which we find ourselves, 21st century AD, is the breaking point as we go through this portal of 2026, walking into the Great Reset of 2027, which is the 11th Dogon Sigi ceremony in 600 years. This cycle ends. Greed corporations are the true synagogue of Satan, puppet masters of evil to keep them in power or to keep the machine running. Realization has always been the key to end this. Now, life itself, nature will do it. The universe, the one book, was so designed like a time clock. One can see, hear, through this demonstration, through this discourse, through the art of Eital Ayman, through the literary art of Eital Ayman, one can see the four worlds of the Hopi in reality. So we see the number 5 must mean finality, or the reset. In the Hopi worlds, we find 5 worlds. We are in the 4th world. We have went to 3 catastrophes or destructions. The connection to the Hopi prophecies perfectly anchors this transition. In Hopi cosmology, humanity has already cycled through distinct historical epochs, each destroyed when society drifted into systematic imbalance and spiritual amnesia. We see it currently. The first world, Topila, destroyed by fire due to human disrespect and division. The second world, Tokpa, destroyed by ice and freezing as humanity forgot the Creator for trade and goods. The third world, Kaskoraza, destroyed by a great flood because of runaway technology and spiritual corruption. That's the third world. Now, the fourth world, the current world of material illusion, tribal division, and industrial greed. The fifth world, this is the imminent arrival of finality and balance. So, in our framework, 5 is a number of the Great Reset, where the universe steps in to reclaim its original harmony. This is a day we have been waiting for. The Dogon call it Izube Meni, the day of the earth and the fish. So if you study my work, order my books, they're at lulu.com. And the last 3 books explains everything perfectly. If you can break out of your trance, you will know that there is something beyond your comprehension that is taking place. And the force itself have put this information before you that you attune yourself to it. That's why we say you are now in tune on the one, the force itself. And we say the master blaster jamming because that was the code. So I want you to know that correct focus shifts the matrix. You wonder why the information is here. You have to open your minds to it. So I say correct focus shifts the matrix. Desire is prayer. Realization is prayer answered. Evil is ignorance, oftentimes not knowing itself to be so. All is divine. All is connected. In physics, in the physics of the Rastafari logic, it's known as I in I. It that dwells within me as me. It that dwells within you as you. Same thing. It is known to us as God or divine intelligence. This is what science calls string theory, the invisible thread connecting the dots that binds all things from the tiniest atom to the largest star. The fundamentalist and the literalist in the arena of religion and the ones who do not believe in the books are the problem in the arena cultural liberation. Belief is a way of the fool, yet faith is a tangible science. It is a functional spiritual art form resulting in the evidence and presenting substance of things hoped for and yet not seen. What we are witnessing today, currently, the rise in racism, is but the result of the term revelation or apocalypse. We have come to the end of an epoch of 6,000 years. We are witnessing the meaning of the word apocalypse in real time. Focus is power. If we would focus on what is correct at this time, the paradigm would automatically change. But the many are the ignorant and the evil without knowledge and are not aware of it. This is the problem. The science is when enough people control themselves, their environment automatically transforms. We walk about, we talk about how great we were. We built the pyramids, we did that. The pyramids and the ancient societies were constructed by people who had great self-control, great knowledge, discipline, void of ego and selfishness. They left us examples that we liberate ourselves at this time. How can you liberate yourself from a people you still try and emulate? You wearing wigs, eating synthetic foods. How can a woman who wears a weave in her head be woke? What is at her essence but confusion? Some will wear dreadlocks and paint the tips or splash a dot of brown just to signal they are down with popular culture. You only fool yourself. Your day is also over. Black culture is no form nor fashion. You are not tribal. You are a joke, bozo, the rainbow-colored clown. And talking about you are chosen and woke. If you were woke, there would be no problem. There is no consensus. You are educated currently by regurgitating algorithms. How many of you have read at least one of my books? What will happen is that what is taking place now will accelerate until the cosmic clock reaches dawn from the current midnight, and you will find out if you are chosen, if you are mere fodder for the fire. Just like your enemy, you're both in for a great realization. And it's fact, 2 + 2, 4. If you bet on a horse and the horse don't win, you lose. I bet you, ice cube on a red hot stove, it's gonna melt. Drowning man henceforth words are help. So, it is time to really wake up. It can't be forced. We can shout loud enough, maybe you awake, but in the state of narcissism, it's really hard, but the information is here. It's up to you to beat the odds. You are now in tune. I am Etal Iman.
The one song. The courtroom is full, but the bench is empty. The black robe sits alone, not lonely, ready to the turning of the sky. Outside the gate, the crowd is loud. Each man wants to build an ark. Each man wants to be the name, but no one wants to hear the rain. Jealousy breeds the mirror breeds the mob. They look at the mountain and pretend it is a shadow. This is the ancient sleep, an ignorance so deep it calls its own blindness the light. Forgive them, whispers the wood, they are only wheels turning in a dream. But the clock has no teeth left to bite. The four walls of the old world crumble. The puppet masters pull their strings, but the wood is dry and the stage is shaking. Do not fight the machine, do not anger the water, sit still. The universe is composing its final line. The fifth world arrives, not with a fist, but like the morning mist, clearing a mirror that was never dirty. If I can like the young man who grew old, his hair publicly never turned gray. He knows how it feels to live a life. Like the young man growing up with nappy hair, grew old before the congregation. With hair as straight as Jim Jones, he knows the feeling of living a life. Who among mere mortals can beat the old wise saying, what has been hidden by the night will be revealed by the sun after the new day is dawn. The deceiver is a charmer. He stands before them with a wooden pipe, swaying to a song the serpent cannot hear. The crowd watches the dance, mesmerized by the rhythm of the performance, never realizing the music is a ghost. The snake does not bow to the melody, it only tracks the threat, trapped in the geometry of the strike zone, while the charmer sits safely outside the truth. But who among mere mortals can beat the old wise saying, what has been hidden by the night will be revealed by the sun after the new day is dawn. deceiver is a charmer. He plays his tune to keep the collective blind, coaxing the venom into the light to make a spectacle of the poison. But the basket cannot stay closed forever, and the sun does not dance to a pipe. When the morning breaks, the music stops, the straight hair fades, and the charmer is left holding nothing but an empty gourd in the open light. The deceiver is the charmer and the snake. He is the hand pulling the strings, and the cold weight coiling in the dark. He plays the tune to keep his own strike at bay, hypnotizing his own nature, forcing his identity straight to please the crowd. While the venom pools beneath his tongue, he lives in the madness of the performance, charming the monster he cannot escape, praying the basket of his mind will hold. But who among mere mortals can be the old wise saying, what has been hidden by the night will be revealed by the sun after the new day is dawn. The dawn cares nothing for the pungi's tune. When the sun breaks over the temple floor, the straight hair thins, the illusions shatter, and the split man is left wide awake, exposed by the light, with nowhere left to hide from himself. Grew old before the congregation, with hair as straight as Jim Jones. He knows the feeling of living life. Every single morning before the doors open, the chemical ink is poured. The stylist works in secret, painting away the years, locking the head in a permanent synthetic night. Not one silver strand can be allowed to speak, not one thread of truth can tell the congregation that the man is fragile, that the man is fading. The black dye is an armor, a heavy plaster, a mask worn so deep it stains the scalp beneath. He blows into the hollow board, listening to the echo of his own dry breath. His fingers move smoothly over the holes, playing a frantic, beautiful melody that he knows in his soul is completely silent. He watches his own hands sway, terrified of what happens if the music stops, for he is sitting in the dust, measuring the exact distance of his own destruction. The deceiver is the charmer and the snake. He is the hand pulling the strings, and the cold weight coiling in the dark. He plays the tune to keep his own strike at bay, hypnotizing his own nature, forcing his identity straight to please the crowd. While the venom pools beneath his tongue, he lives in the madness of the performance, charming the monster he cannot escape, praying the basket of his mind will hold. The sun cares nothing for the permanent black. The roots grow white beneath the ink, breaking through the chemical lie like grass through concrete. At 80 years, the hands begin to shake, the straight hair thins, the illusions. The one song, the courtroom is full, but the bench is empty. The black robe sits alone, not lonely, wedded to the turning of the sky. Outside the gate, the crowd is loud. Each man wants to build an ark, each man wants to be the name, but no one wants to hear the rain. Jealousy breeds the mirror breeds the mob. They look at the mountain and pretend it is a shadow. This is the ancient sleep, an ignorance so deep it calls its own blindness the light. Forgive them, whispers the wood, they are only wheels turning in a dream. But the clock has no teeth left to bite. The four walls of the old world crumble. The puppet masters pull their strings, but the wood is dry and the stage is shaking. Do not fight the machine, do not anger the water, sit still. The universe is composing its final line. The fifth world arrives not with a fist, but like the morning mist, clearing a mirror that was never dirty. If I can like the young man who grew old, his hair publicly never turned gray. He knows how it feels to live a life. Like the young man growing up with nappy hair, grew old before the congregation. With hair as straight as Jim Jones, he knows the feeling of living a life. Who among mere mortals can beat the old wise saying, what has been hidden by the night will be revealed by the sun after the new day is dawn. The deceiver is a charmer. He stands before them with a wooden pipe, swaying to a song the serpent cannot hear. The crowd watches the dance, mesmerized by the rhythm of the performance, never realizing the music is a ghost. The snake does not bow to the melody, it only tracks the threat, trapped in the geometry of the strike zone, while the charmer sits safely outside the truth. But who among immortals can beat the old wise saying, what has been hidden by the night will be revealed by the sun after the new day is dawn. The deceiver is a charmer. He plays his tune to keep the collective blind, coaxing the venom into the light to make a spectacle of the poison. But the basket cannot stay closed forever, and the sun does not dance to a pipe. When the morning breaks, the music stops, the straight hair fades, and the charmer is left holding nothing but an empty gourd in the open light. The deceiver is the charmer and the snake. He is the hand pulling the strings, and the cold weight coiling in the dark. He plays the tune to keep his own strike at bay, hypnotizing his own nature, forcing his identity straight to please the crowd. While the venom pools beneath his tongue, he lives in the madness of the performance, charming the monster he cannot escape, praying the basket of his mind will hold. But who among mere mortals can beat the old wise saying, what has been hidden by the night will be revealed by the sun after the new day is dawn. The dawn cares nothing for the pungi's tune when the sun breaks over the temple floor. The straight hair thins, the illusions shatter, and the split man is left wide awake, exposed by the light, with nowhere left to hide from himself. Jones. He knows the feeling of living life. Every single morning before the doors open, the chemical ink is poured. The stylist works in secret, painting away the years, locking the head in a permanent synthetic night. Not one silver strand can be allowed to speak. Not one thread of truth can tell the congregation that the man is fragile, that the man is fading. The black dye is armor, a heavy blaster, a mask worn so deep it stains the scalp beneath. He blows into the hollow board, listening to the echo of his own dry breath. His fingers move smoothly over the holes, playing a frantic, beautiful melody that he knows in his soul is completely silent. He watches his own hands sway, terrified of what happens if the music stops. For he is sitting in the dust, measuring the exact distance of his own destruction. The deceiver is the charmer, and the snake, he is the hand pulling the strings, and the cold wave coiling in the dark. He plays the tune to keep his own strike at bay, hypnotizing his own nature, forcing his identity straight to please the crowd, while the venom pulls beneath his tongue. He lives in the madness of the performance, charming the monster he cannot escape. Prey in the basket of his mind will hold. The sun cares nothing for the permanent